Hey guys, playing Brave New Oarc with kill biters for resources. The color of the biter nest is the resource. This is copper, this is iron, this is coal, this is oil, and you have to harvest it. Here's uranium. You have to harvest it by setting up these areas that will blur them. You could see some of them go to sleep if there's not pollution on them and a radar. It's both be pollution and a radar. Hopefully we'll see these guys come alive in a second. So the goal here is to generate much pollution as you can. And because power is always going to be an issue, you have to use solar, which doesn't generate pollution. Here's my solution. I have a solar array that you look at how it's connected. It's disconnected from everything except for itself and in this one spot. So what is that one spot? It's one spot has these combinators and a switch. So this is wired to connect the whole set of solar to this one pole. This one pole goes to the right side of the switch. The left side of the switch goes to the network. Now the network has to power these guys, right? So this accumulator is sampling the percent of power in the network, which is basically the percent that the capacitors are charged. So if you look at that, they're 100% right now, and they're going to fluctuate. And we should probably see that A go from 100 to 99. And now this is called an AR switch. So if the capacitors are less than 40%, it sets S to 1. If the capacitors are greater than 90%, it sets reset to 1. It says if S is set greater than the reset value, so if they're both 1, that's not true. It outputs S of 1. And then this switch only goes on when S is greater than 0. You guys are going to have to wrap your brain around this, okay? SR switch. Okay, so what this is going to do is this is going to close when the power hits below 40%, connecting this power, which is, 53.8 megawatts, to the network to help it recover. Otherwise, it's going to use steam boilers. Okay, now I have a lot of coal, but what I did was I backed the coal up with solid fuel. And the way that I deal with that is I have solid fuel coming out. These are Ender link chests, which are modified in Brave New Oarc to allow you to put wires on them and to give them addresses. They typically don't have that. So I can choose the priority, and I've said, hey, I've got a lot of coal, so make the input come from coal. And there was a point in the game where I didn't have a lot of coal, so I switched this over to say, okay, make the input the solid fuel. And the solid fuel is, 12 megajoules, and coal is 4 megajoules. Okay, so now this area here is set up so that the reset occurs when it drops below 60%. So what'll happen is this will turn on. This is off because I don't care about attracting biters in the south. All right, I want all of the pollution to come from the north. So I have 3 solar or power setups: one here, and one in the water. And I want the pollution to come to get all of these areas. Not as much here, but if I have a choice, I want to turn this array on first, and then this is my solar array is the one that comes on when I get into trouble, when it's just about to kick off and say, okay, only 40%. Now these guys are asleep because the pollution is not hitting them. So if I fly over them, you can see they all come awake again. So what I need more pollution in this area. Now, another way that I'm generating pollution is I'm just generating work, right? These guys are just saying, unpack water and pack water, and also generate a little bit of power from steam. Okay, this will create a little bit of pollution. All right, so the plan is disable solar when I have plenty of power coming from pollution or polluted steam engines, right? These guys are generating a fair amount of pollution, both north and middle, right? Same logic here. Say take it from coal, because if you look at my coal, it's fairly full. I probably should put some logic on there. It says switch it. I don't think you can do that with I think I could probably just use a wire to block it if this drops too low. But it won't matter, because if it drops to 0, then the cubes will take over. So I don't really have to put logic on there. So that's how I'm polluting. And this is a version of, this is using the mod that is resources from biters, and there are no resources anywhere on the map other than these nests. Okay, so you have to attract them, and if they go to sleep, you don't get anything. Now there's no pollution over here. Should do something about that. These guys are generating a little bit of pollution from generating this. This came from, it might have been Eiffel, generating power to make green. So anything you could push into the areas that you want to pollute, instead of one concentrated area where there's really not a lot, you have to go out pretty far before you hit the nests. So you want to generate pollution as much as you can in the areas, so where the biters are. So I thought you might find that interesting.